Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining me. I am Ryan Clifton Bowler, and I'm going to get right down to it. Since some of you probably already know the new nominee for the Supreme Court Justice was being cross-examined, if you will, and she couldn't answer a very simple question as to what defines a woman. So listen, I'm going to read a portion of an article from Epoch Times. I'm going to read this article, and periodically throughout this article, I'm going to be giving my opinion and my views on what she says, because I believe, to be quite frank with you, and I don't want to give away too much of this, but I'm going to be upfront with you. I believe that she's faking. I believe she knows exactly what she's doing. She knows what defines a woman. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to read this article, and then periodically throughout the article, I'm going to be giving you my opinion. So let's start right away. The Epoch Times, and the article is entitled Ketanji Brown Jackson. I'm just going to say Brown Jackson. These names kill me. I'm just going to say Brown Jackson refuses to define word woman. President Joe Biden's Supreme Court nominee on March 22nd refused to define what a woman is or say whether she agreed that punishments for possessing or distributing child pornography should be strengthened. Right then and there, right there, that should tell you something. Right within this introduction, right there should tell you something right off the bat is not right about this. It's pretty straightforward and pretty simple. And in fact, I actually watched the review when the individual was asking this nominee these questions. And I'm saying to myself, there is no way that you can get me to believe that this woman could not answer this question. But let's go further. Let's go further. Judge Brown Jackson was asked during day 2 of her confirmation hearings whether she could provide a definition of the word woman. No, I can't, Jackson said. I'm not a biologist, she added. Let me stop right there. No, I can't, she said. I'm not a biologist. Really? Do you need to be a biologist to define what a woman is? Even if you couldn't define what a woman is from a biological perspective, rather, I'm pretty sure she knew how to define a woman, or she knew what a woman is. She could have just said, well, a woman has 2 breasts, and a. See what I mean? I don't want to give away too much of it because I might get edited here. But a woman has 2, mammary glands and other functional parts in her body that distinguishes her as a woman. Come on now. How could anybody believe anything that these people say? Come on. I mean, it's really not worth arguing. It's really not worth arguing. But let's go on. So she says, I'm not a biologist, she added. Jackson sits on the board of Georgetown Day School, where students as young as 5 are taught that they can choose to be a different gender, Senator Marshall Blackburn said. Now, here, this is interesting. This woman sits on the board of Georgetown Day School, where students as young as 5 are taught they can choose to be a different gender. 5 years old, this judge sits on that board. See, stuff's starting to come out of the limelight. See, they have to be reviewed. They have to be confirmed. Certain things you need to not only know as a judge, but certain types of worldviews need to be known up front before we decide. Now, of course, obviously you have some Republicans and some Democrats in his confirmation hearings, and I'm pretty sure that the lady that's asking these questions to this judge, the nominee, was more than likely a Republican. If not a Republican, a nominal or moderate Democrat. Okay, I believe she was Republican. But the point is that certain worldviews are important, because when these judges get over there and review these cases, their worldview will determine the outcome of those cases. Now, this is pretty disturbing to me to discover that Jackson sits on the board of Georgetown Day School, where students as young as 5 are taught they can choose to be a different gender. See, there's an agenda going on here, people. There is an agenda going on. Let's go on. Let's continue to read it. Let me continue to read this article. She then asked Jackson if she agreed with the late Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg, who said in the decision that, quote, physical differences between men and women are enduring. Jackson said she could not because she was not familiar with the case. Really? Do you have to be familiar with the case to analyze why Ruth Ginsburg made that statement? Do you have to know the case? It's pretty simple. As I said earlier in this video, I believe that this nominee, Ms. Jackson, I believe that this nominee is faking it. She knows what she's doing. She's just avoiding the questions. She's just avoiding answering the questions. She knows what she's doing. Nobody with this kind of pedigree, and from what I understand, she's pretty educated, okay? No one with this kind of pedigree and education can convince me or millions of other thinking Americans that you can't define what a woman is. Even if she could not define a woman from a biological perspective, Y chromosomes or whatever the case may be, because when I was coming up in school, to be honest with you, I didn't really pay much attention to any of that type of stuff, to be honest with you. That's how I was back then. I'm not now, clearly. But back then, I didn't pay attention. Y chromosomes and all this. But even if she couldn't define it from a biological perspective, she knew exactly how to define a woman. She could have came up with something. She has the intelligence to do so. See, she's faking. She's faking. But I'm going to give you what I believe she really is and what she really represents later on. But let's go on. After Jackson refused to provide a definition of what a woman is, Blackburn said, quote, the meaning of the word woman is so unclear and uncontroversial that you cannot give me a definition. In my work as a judge, what I do is I address disputes. If there is a dispute about a definition, people make arguments, and I look at the law and I decide, the judge said. She's real good at what she's doing. She's real good. She's real good at how she's able to manipulate and slide her way out of this. It goes on, the fact that you cannot give me a straight answer about something as fundamental as what a woman is underscores the dangers of the kind of progressive education that we are hearing about, Blackburn said, pointing out that Leah Thompson, and we all know about this, Leah Thompson, a biological male, was permitted to race against women in the National College Championships earlier this month, drawing widespread criticism. And there's a lot of controversy about that. And I said this before in some previous videos, I don't even argue that because the premise to me is ridiculous. But you know, the whole idea, you're a biological man and you here swimming and competing against biological women. You have a biological advantage over them. That's more than likely why you're beating them. In fact, I'm going to be bold enough to say that is why you're beating these women, because you have a biological advantage over them. And I'm looking at this video and it's sickening to me. And this is the kind of stuff that this judge, I believe, this nominee represents. She represents and pushes for this type of gender confusion, I call it. Gender confusion in the minds of the people that support it, gender confusion in the minds of the people that act it out. Because you can't, and that's why I don't argue these kind of things. I would not get into an argument or debate with someone like this judge. I wouldn't. I always say that I wouldn't get him. And here's the reason why. And I'm going to go further. I'm going on. Here's the reason why I wouldn't get into an argument with them or a debate. Because I believe that these progressive Democrats and these progressives in office on all levels have an agenda. The purpose is to confuse sexuality. That's their purpose. That's their intent. When they tell you, I can't, when she says, talk about this stuff, well, I can't, I don't know the case. I can't, I'm a judge. I'm supposed to judge arguments. That's a bunch of hogwash. She knows what she's doing. Communists are liars. Progressivism is just another term for socialism, which is just another term for communism. That's all she is. She's a soft communist, as far as I'm concerned. And communists and Marxists, their main purpose is to cause confusion. These people are trying to destroy the country, and this nominee is one of them. I don't care about her being black. I could care less. Man, don't make me vomit. You think I care about that? I don't care about her being black. I could care less. You could be black and be the Antichrist for all I know. Just because you black or whatever the case may be don't mean nothing to me. That don't mean anything to me. What matters to me is your worldview, because your worldview is what's going to determine the course of this country. And if these progressive views like this woman is pushing here and she's going to be nominated and eventually get on the board, okay, and become a part of the Supreme Court, we're going to have some problems. We're going to have some problems. You're going to see more of these kind of weird cases and stuff being pushed, because we have people in office in leadership positions pushing for this gender confusion. It's wrong. Okay, let's go on. Let's go on. During Tuesday's hearings, Jackson also declined to oppose expanding the size of the Supreme Court. Both Ginsburg and Justice Stephen Breyer, who Jackson will replace if she is confirmed by the Senate. So she has to go before the Senate, okay? And I hope they don't confirm, because what I understand, I think the Senate is mostly Republicans, so they might not confirm. We'll see. Having spoke out against the proposal, which is primarily favored by Democrats. Now let's see something. I want to look at something else here. Oh, here's what I want to look at too. Now listen to this. Hear this out. Jackson used similar reasoning to decline to say if she supports imposing harsher punishments for child pornography related crimes. Now this is just disgusting. While a judge, Jackson has given defendants in such cases a sentence on average, get this now, 47% lower than what prosecutors recommended, according to an analysis from Senator Ted Cruz. So according to this analysis from Senator Ted Cruz, Jackson gave these individuals a sentence on an average of 47% lower than what prosecutors recommended. Now, here's what I believe the case may be, and I said this earlier. These progressives have a worldview. They believe that people that commit these kind of crimes, well, let me go back a little bit. Let me go back, because I want to just go as long as it should go. People like this judge, I believe, get their worldview and teaching and training in part from a Marxist professor that came from the Frankfurt School of Marxism by the name of Herbert Marcuse, who was a professor from the Frankfurt School of Marxism. He came here to America, and he became a part of, I think it was either Princeton or Columbia, one of the universities. And he taught that people should be unhindered with sexuality. In other words, he said, whatever desires that you have sexually, you should act those desires out, including, get this now, including pedophilia. Including pedophilia. These are the people that are teaching our students and teaching our young people, teaching that it's okay for grown men and women to want to engage in sexual acts with children. This is what being taught. Now you say, what's that got to do with this judge? That's long time ago, 1960s, because I would argue it this way. His teaching from the 60s, she may have been a student under that type of system. And she learned from him, took that philosophy, became a judge, and began to teach that philosophy. See, these teachers, these Marxist teachers and professors that infiltrated our colleges and campuses, teach young people. The young people grow up, become adults, they become politicians, they become mayors, they become leaders in positions of authority, and then they push their worldview on everyone else. That's how that works. I believe she's getting it from people like Herbert Marcuse, and that's why she's soft on these people who clearly are pushing child pornography. Are you kidding me? These are evil people that are in our government. I'm going to end the article right there. You can read the rest of that article in the description box below. But these are the kind of people that are part of our government, folks. It matters who you vote for. I say that all the time. It matters who you vote for. The presidents, regardless of whether they be Republican or Democrat, the presidents have the authority to appoint one of the most important, rather, let me rephrase that, one of the most important decisions that a president can make is to appoint Supreme Court justices. Whatever their worldview is, will be the type of president that they will appoint. The type of judge, that the president would appoint. Biden, in my closing, said this right off the bat, that he's going to nominate a black person. He didn't say anything about qualifications. Right off the bat, he said he's nominating someone based on them being black. That's why it's argued that he chose Kamala Harris to be his vice president, because supposedly she's supposed to be black or have some black in her. Forget about qualifications, which when you listen to her talk, she surely shows she's not qualified, because she don't know what the heck she be talking about half the time. I wouldn't even say half the time. I'd say a tenth of the time she doesn't know what she's talking about. She has no knowledge of politics, but he picked her clearly simply because she's black. When it comes to that, affirmative action doesn't work. And he picked this nominee. He nominated this lady simply because she's black. So now he nominates her because she's black, and not only black, but she holds these progressive views, which is what he holds, which is just a soft form of communism, hell bent on dividing and destroying this country and reforming it again into a communist country and merging it with the United Nations. That's what I believe this is. This woman is not fooling me one iota, one bit. She knows how to define a woman. She's just playing everybody. But I just wanted to say that. What do you guys think? Leave your comments in the comment section below. If you like this video, press the like button, share this video, and subscribe. God bless you all, and see you again.